and Public Safety is going to come to order. We're going to start in a subcommittee so we can get the hearing going. Representative Jones has requested to go first. He's got a time constraint. So, Representative, you go ahead and get started on House Committee Substitute for House Bill 2742 when you're ready.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and soon to be members of the committee.
Representative, is that microphone on?
Yep, I got it.
Great.
For the record, my name is Mike Jones. I represent House District 12. This bill addresses a serious and growing problem across our state. Drivers are illegally passing stop school buses while children are getting on and off the bus. This is otherwise known as stop-arm violations. In Platte County R3 School District alone, there have been 163 documented stop-arm violations since the school year began. A national survey found that over 95,000 illegal school bus passings occurred in a single day, adding up to more than 17 million violations each year. This bill establishes mandatory minimum penalties, strengthens consequences for repeat offenders, and ensures the law is taken seriously so that children at the bus stop are protected. This bill was also amended on the House floor to include a language fix to the hands-free cell phone law that allows municipalities, if they choose, to mirror and enforce state law that was established back in 2025. Another amendment was added which allows counties and municipalities to establish hospital zones to give local communities the ability to protect patients, staff, and families around hospitals. And with that, I'll take questions.
Thank you, Representative. I don't have any questions for you. Does anybody here want to testify in support of House Bill 2742? Proceed when you're ready.
Mr. Chairman, I submitted my witness testimony form online. I'm here to talk to the hospital zone part of the bill. Most municipalities don't have a problem with controlling speed limits around hospitals. We do have a couple that are off state highways where MoDOT won't lower the speed limit, and the municipality is asking them to, and the hospital is asking them to. This is permissive language. It just gives them the ability to, if the local municipality agrees. We think it's good policy because hospitals are high pedestrian areas. Happy to take any questions.
I don't have any questions. Thank you for your testimony. Anybody else here to testify in favor of the bill? Anybody in opposition? Anybody for informational purposes? That'll conclude the hearing. Thank you, Representative. We'll now move to House Committee Substitute for House Bill 1840, Representative Gallick.
Good afternoon, Senator Fitzwater and committee. My name is Representative Sherry Gallick, District 62 of Cass and Bates County. I'm here for House Bill 1840. It establishes the Purple Alert System, the program to locate missing individuals with developmental disabilities that wander or go missing. My bill did have an emergency clause, but I was told that that was taken out. The intent of it was because it said that it would be done by June 27th. It doesn't say that it's done June 27th. It said that it would be done. And my sense of urgency was, 2 weeks ago, another little boy drowned. And so the quicker that, my intent was the quicker we get started with the training and the system and everything else, the quicker we could implement it. I'm not going to go on about RJ's parents, but they did request that this be named RJ's Law so that no other parent has to have the pain of losing a child or a loved one with autism. One other short story, I was doing a blood draw and happened to be just talking to the tech, and she asked me about bills I was doing, and I told her about this, and she said, "What is that?" And I told her it was for people with cognitive and intellectual disabilities, and she said, "Oh my gosh," she said, "my brother-in-law is in his 30s. She said he goes missing, and you can't do anything about it for 24 hours. But she said he's been beat up, he's lost his bike, he's wandered off with the wrong people. But she said, thankfully, they've been able to find him within 2 or 3 days. But families have to deal with this, and they shouldn't have to go through this alone. But enacting the Purple Alert System is not reinventing the wheel. It builds on an existing alert notification system addressing critical unmet needs. By expanding these systems, it fills the gap where timely information is essential. The added layer of notification and training empowers emergency responders and communities to respond quickly. And there was a captain here I know that was on Senator Berger's bill, and he said this is the missing piece to the puzzle. And with that, I will take questions.
Questions for the sponsor? Seeing none. Anybody here to testify in favor of the bill? Go ahead and hop up here.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman Travis Fitzwater and committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Danielle Rocha, and I live in Cass County, residing in Peculiar, Missouri. I am here today to testify in support of House Bill 1840 and the amendments that have been applied by the House. I provided in-person testimony in support of Senate Bill 1409 on March 30th, which was voted do pass last week. Since House Bill 1840 and Senate Bill 1409 both established the new purple alert, my testimony will focus on the importance of the House bill amendments, referring this legislation as RJ's Law and the emergency clause. House Bill 1840 has been amended to be referred to as RJ's Law. RJ is a little 4-year-old boy who we recently lost in Cass County. He had drowned in a pond not far from his home. The impact of his loss and the circumstances surrounding this event is what pushed me to propose the purple alert to Representative Sherry Gallick. RJ's family has personally thanked me for my efforts in this bill, telling me this bill has helped them process their grief in something meaningful. Referring to this law as RJ's Law will provide RJ with a legacy. His memory will save many lives. The addition of the emergency clause to House Bill 1840 is a critical procedural move that will allow this bill to be implemented immediately. The House floor voted in favor of the emergency clause 143 to 8. This shows the bipartisan support this clause has received in protecting Missourians with intellectual and developmental disabilities, along with how urgent this public safety matter is. During the hearing process of House Bill 1840 and Senate Bill 1409, we had lost another young boy to drowning in Waverly, Missouri. Sherry did touch on that. He was only 6 years old. The sooner we can implement this law, the sooner we can intervene in elopement cases and drive down the statistics of losing loved ones. Finally, I want to quickly touch on the fact that April is Autism Acceptance Awareness Month. I want to urge all the Senate to please push this bill as quickly as possible by passing House Bill 1840 this month and by utilizing the emergency clause to make it law immediately. You are sending a clear message to all Missourians that the safety of our citizens with intellectual and developmental disabilities is not just a cause we recognize for 1 month out of the year, but a priority we protect with the full force of our state's resources. Let this be the year that Missouri moves beyond awareness and provides actual life-saving protection for our families. I also want to add that it was brought to my attention that Mason's Law will be added to this. I feel like we could still apply the emergency clause with Mason's Law added to the bill. It doesn't change the fact that it could be added to a license or not. For the reasons I have shared in my testimony, I urge the committee to vote do pass on House Bill 1840 and support the amendments the House has applied. Thank you for your time and service to the state, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
I brought copies of my
Thank you.
statement.
Anybody else there to testify in favor of the bill? Go ahead and hop up here.
My name is Haley Rauer. Thank you for allowing me to speak in front of you again. I will keep this rather brief. As you have already heard me speak in support of Senate Bill 1409, I'm back in support of House Bill 1840 and the variants of the two bills, including renaming to RJ's Law. I was made aware that the emergency clause has been removed, but I implore you to take action as soon as possible. Elopement has been a focus of mine, as it has always been a possibility of happening in our family with my son, who has level 3 autism, until it wasn't just a possibility anymore. Last week, My son and I were outside on our driveway playing with a basketball. One moment I was dribbling just 2 feet in front of him and he was engaged with me. I was still on high alert. The next moment he heard a car driving on our street towards our home. One of his hyperfixations is spinning wheels. Within a split second, he was off to the races. His nervous system took over and he went into flight mode. In a true elopement, it feels as if he becomes faster. I took off after him. As the car was nearing and he was almost to the street, I lunged for him. I grabbed his arm, then I hit the ground. I was knocked unconscious when my head hit the concrete. When I came to, Hudson was staring at me with curiosity. I grabbed his arm again. When I attempted to stand, blood started to run down my face and I became dizzy. I started to crawl up our driveway as I called out for help. Lucky for us, a neighbor who understands Hudson and his autism ran to us. She redirected Hudson to the house and helped with my children to keep them calm. Inevitably, I had 2 lacerations on my forehead glued shut, which I love bangs now. Underwent a concussion protocol and experienced the effects of whiplash. I tell you about this because if I wasn't able to reach him in time or I was unconscious longer than I was, it could have resulted in losing him or becoming a situation where the purple alert would be needed once the car passed. I implore you to not only do pass House Bill 1840, but agree to put it into effect as soon as possible.
Questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Anybody else here to testify in favor?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Lynn Schlosser, registered lobbyist for the Missouri Association of Sheltered Workshop Managers and for Woodhaven. And we'd like to go on the record in support of this bill and thank the representative. Thank you.
Any questions? Seeing none. Anybody else here to testify in favor?
Good afternoon, Katie Gamble here on behalf of the Missouri Association of County Developmental Disabilities Services. I want to go on record in support of the legislation as well.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none. Thank you for testimony. Anybody else here to testify in favor? Anybody in opposition? Any for informational purposes only? That'll conclude the hearing. Thank you, Representative.
Thank you for your time.
Senator Crawford. Senate Bill 1632.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to keep this as brief as possible. Senate Bill 1632 has a lot in it, but I'm going to give you some initial high-level information. Then I'm going to turn it over to Zach with DOR, if that's okay with you. They're waiting on me in another committee, and we're voting on bills there, too. So trying to be 2 places at once. So Senate Bill 1632, this is the Department of Revenue, and they brought to me by them, and they're currently in the process of the motor vehicle and driver's licensing system modernization. And as part of this upgrade, there are statutory changes that will make it more efficient, and that's what this bill does. It does several things. I'm going to run through quite a few of them. Currently, horsepower is used to determine registration fees for passenger vehicles. This will replace that with a flat fee. Alternative fuel decals are usually issued annually in January, and that does not align with registration and renewal periods for the vehicle that the decal is registered to, so this would align that. It also removes the requirement to issue and display the decal. Additionally, this bill will change the disabled placards from 4 years to 8 years. It will remove the biennial registration renewal because it's no longer needed. Also, Missouri statute currently exempts fees from dealer license plates from being distributed to the Missouri Motor Vehicle Commission Fund. This fund is used for the administration of Missouri Licensed Dealer Program. Each year, the department issues new dealer license plates to be licensed dealers, which is costly and inefficient. Also, an individual can sell up to 6 motor vehicles each year without becoming a motor vehicle licensed dealer. The number of sales is required to be a dealer is now 8. This proposal will redistribute the funds from the dealer license plates to the Motor Vehicle Commission Fund and will allow the issuance of the renewal dealer tabs rather than new dealer license plates at each renewal. In addition, this proposal changes the number of vehicles a dealer needs to sell to maintain a dealer license from 8 to 12. I think the Department of Revenue can talk about how many dealers we have across the state. There are lots of them. Currently, the department can only retain source documents for Real ID for 10 years. This legislation would allow them to retain the source documents indefinitely, because if they don't, every time the applicant has to bring all their documents back in again every time they renew the real ID. So that would change that. Also, Missouri licensed dealers will start collecting sales tax on every unit they sell once the department gets upgraded for that. With this provision, this provision will not specifically exclude buyers that do not reside in Missouri, and current statutes assess local sales tax based on the buyer's address for vehicles driven on Missouri roads. This provision will allow the department to collect motor vehicle sales tax from buyers who have an out-of-state address. Currently, title and registration requirements, names that owners and registrants use, the names that they use when titling their vehicles sometimes differ from their legal names, and it will require their legal name as owner on all vehicle titles and registrations. I think that makes sense. The current late registration renewal penalty is only $5. This bill would increase that penalty to $25 per month with a maximum of $200, and that would provide more of an incentive to comply with registration deadlines. The bill also includes cleanup language in Section 301.030 as it is written currently. It's confusing, and when a vehicle can be assessed a late penalty and issued a citation for expired registration. This bill will make it clearer. The goal of Senate Bill 1632 is to update antiquated statutory provisions to allow for a more nimble, efficient motor vehicle and driver's license system, which will result in the department and customer efficiencies. I think that's plenty for me to say at this point in time. The bill's pretty large, but that's an overview of what it does. And like I said, I'm happy to try to answer questions, but Zach can get more in the weeds, I believe, for you.
Great. Thank you, Senator. Any questions for the Senator? Seeing none, anybody here to testify in favor? And please, for our records, please fill out witness forms so that we can track who's
You know
for
where
against.
to find. No, I'm just kidding. I
Yeah,
have one.
we do know where to find you. Yeah, you're always here though. You're
I
very
know,
easy
right?
to find.
All right. Good afternoon, Senator and members of the committee. I'm Zach Wyatt, the Legislative Director for Missouri Department of Revenue. As Senator Crawford stated, this bill is really the cruxus of our new fusion system, which is 50 unique systems into one nexus, because we had over 50 systems prior to we currently have over 50 systems, and we're starting to put those into one system. That this has been a process that we've been doing over the last few years. And we have in November of it would have been 2 years ago, in November 2024, we implemented the driver's license portion of the fusion system, and then it should be in February of 27, we will be looking to implement the motor vehicle provisions of the new system as well. And these changes will make that system upgrade a lot more efficient for the department, but also answer some of the concerns that we've heard over the years from constituents and constituent issues that I've gotten from legislators over the years. And as the senator said, the flat registration fee, that's been something, we're the only state in the nation that still registers on horsepower. That is such an antiquated thing. A lot of MSOs, the document you get for new vehicles, they actually do not state the horsepower, so it has become somewhat of a antiquated guessing game for our staff in the license offices, to make sure they get the right horsepower for that vehicle. This would just be a flat $25 registration fee. Then the alternative fuel, that's been a big one that I've had a lot of concerns with constituents, is in regards to them not lining up with registration, and then every January they have to come back into the license office, get those renewed. These would coincide with registration. So if you register in July, you will get your alternative fuel sticker. There is not actually going to be any more sticker. It's going to be a part of your registration, so you don't have to put the big. I know a lot of electric vehicle drivers, including myself, don't like the huge sticker that has to go on your front windshield, and so this would alleviate that as well. And then when it comes to the biennial registration, I'm sure some of you guys have actually bought a vehicle. Let's just say you bought a vehicle in 2024, but you came and registered it in 2025. We would only allow for you to get, because of the law, is you would only be able to get a 1-year registration, and you couldn't get a 2-year. This would allow for you to get a 1-year or 2-year registration whenever, whatever you so may choose when you come into the license offices. Again, there's a lot of cleanup in here. One of the things is that the senator talked about was going from 8 vehicles a year to 12 vehicles a year. Missouri, we currently have over 6,000 dealers in the state of Missouri. We have seen, I know a lot of people, we think that this is good policy in a way of saying, okay, if you are a dealer and that's your job, if you're selling, we kind of went to, I will tell you, the first part of this bill had actually 60, because there was some of the people that we worked with said that maybe 60 would be a good number because you're actually in it to sell cars. We did work with other groups, and we kind of got it to the 12 right now. But I think if you're not selling at least one car a month, I don't know if you can really consider yourself a dealer in that realm. So we think that is a good policy for us, and especially in tracking and getting these dealers to getting them renewed on when it's time for them to renew. Real ID source documents. I know I've been around this building for a while, so I do understand the where Real ID started and where it's come to currently, where we're at. And I'll say, the whole thing about the 10-year, when you hold it for 10 years, most people get their license renewed every 6 years. So currently, we have it for 10 years. We would be able to, a constituent wouldn't have to bring in their documents every time they come in to renew on that first renewal, but that second renewal, they would have to bring in all their documents again. One of the big things we do see because of the federal requirements, it's really that name change document, and it really affects our female constituents, especially if they've been married multiple times and divorced. So that causes a lot of consternation in the license offices and stuff, and that's been a big one. And to kind of sum it up, I did want to talk about the aspect of the registration penalties, because you are seeing that move. Currently, the registration penalty is $5, and it's just $5. So if you come in 3 months late, 6 months late, it's a $5 late fee. Now we wanted to line it up with a titling penalty, and so that way we don't have all these different types of penalties that are out there that our license offices don't. So we see a lot of turnover in these contracted license offices. We have over 173 license offices, or we have around 173 out in the state right now. We see a lot of turnover, and understanding the different penalties and stuff, if we can just get a lot more similarities, so then they don't have to understand the differences, that would make it more efficient, we believe, with the license offices as well. With that, I'll stop there and answer any questions that you guys might have.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else here to testify in favor of the Senate bill? Anybody in opposition? Anybody for informational purposes? That'll conclude the hearing on Senate Bill 1632. We're going to take a second here to try to get a quorum, so stick around if you're interested. Infrastructure, public safety will come back to order. Madam Alyssa, call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Here.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
Quorum being established, the Committee on Transportation, Infrastructure, and Public Safety is now in session. We will move into our public, we've already had the public hearing, so I move that we go into executive session. Do I have a second? Having a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We are in executive session. I move that House Committee substitute for House Bill 1840 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? Having a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill was just presented by Representative Gallick. It establishes an alert system to assist in the location of missing persons with developmental disabilities. If you recall, we've already passed this through this committee, and a Senate version. There is a substitute ending in .04C. The substitute updates the purple alert language to make sure it is clear that a person with an intellectual disability who is missing and would need medical attention, in addition to someone who is potentially suicidal, are covered. It also adds Representative Chris Brown's Mason's Law. This law is voluntary, and a person or family member can have it noted on their license plate that they have a communication disorder, or a family member in the car has a communication disorder. This was voted out of the House committee and has been perfected on the House floor. The sub also removes the emergency clause because the purple alert system is not required to be implemented until next summer. Any discussion on the bill or the substitute?
Comment.
Senator Gregory, go ahead.
I wasn't here for this hearing, but I was here for the hearing last week on the same subject matter carried by Senator Berger. And just so happened, unfortunately, within like a day or two, 6-year-old boy in Lafayette County in Waverly, same thing just happened to him, and wandered off, and they found him, unfortunately, deceased in a pond. So appreciate all you all are doing on this, and not saying that it wasn't important before, but it just raised up in my book, so hopefully we can get this across the finish line.
Yeah, this committee obviously has prioritized this issue. I'm glad to keep moving it forward. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I now move that we adopt the substitute. Do I have a second? Having a second, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You've adopted the substitute. I move that we vote Senate Committee substitute for House Committee substitute for House Bill 1840 do pass. Do I have a second? Having a second, any discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Senator Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
By a vote of 4-0, the motion carries. Seeing no further business, I move to adjourn. Do I have a second? Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're adjourned.